Welcome to today's episode of the Dirty Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Cookie, and we got a whole boss in the building today. If you've been to your girl's crib, been to a few kickbacks and you've seen some pillows, accessories in the home, some curtains with some dope Black women on it, natural hair, all of that good stuff, then you probably know who Dana Blatt is. She is the creative genius behind Pardon My Fro and responsible for making one of the dopest podcast logos, mine. So we got her in the building today so we can kind of pick her brain and get into the genius behind the brand. How you doing, sis?
Hi, having me.
Yeah, so what you been up to?
Oh, a lot, but blessed. Been busy, but blessed. So just been trying to just make some moves this year. I feel like COVID year was the year for refreshing, taking a rest. I know I needed it.
Right.
Everyone surround us with suffering, and thank God it didn't affect my family, a lot of my friends too much. So I was happy to hear that. But I really took that year to just take it easy, kind of just think what needs to come next. So I got some partnerships behind my belt to help me elevate, for the brand. And I'm just happy where things are going. Just really, really happy where things are going right now.
And speaking of that, so first of all, just so y'all know, because the sister got some things under her belt. You've been featured on Essence, ET Online. People know who you are out in these streets. So I was curious to know how COVID impacted you, like with the expectations of you to deliver and have this art for us all the time. Like what happened during that time where you were like, I need a break?
Right. So luckily my manufacturers have always had my back. They're just excellent. It slowed down a little bit, but I was still able to get the basics. Like if people still wanted shower curtains and art prints, they was at least getting that. Anyone who was wanting a trolley, that was kind of tough to do. But for the most part, my manufacturers stayed working. It just slowed down a lot because the staff, decreased. So I was lucky that I was still able to get the top 5 products that people want in their home. So I was happy about that. So when I say blessed, I mean blessed with that. Although I took a break probably mentally, just to kind of, instead of being on the email every day, I was just letting my brain just relax, just, writing down notes. I'm good with, taking notes in a notepad, just saying, what's next? What's next? There was no sense in me trying to rush into COVID because people weren't going anywhere. Everybody was home. So I feel like people were like, we're home shopping. People were able to be home for the family dinners and stuff like that. So I feel like for the most part, if COVID didn't really affect you like that, people really took some time to just kind of like relax and see what was going on. And I really think that part of my fro was kind of like reborn because people were able to really take some time and sit down and like research and look at Instagram and kind of see, what Pardon My Fro was about. So I feel like that's right. What people did. And I feel like that's where it kind of like just relived itself, if you want to say that. So yeah.
And a lot of people, honestly, I can remember being at home when they announced that shutdown. I spent so much money ordering stuff. So people were probably spending, even though everybody was impacted, people were getting laid off. But with all that extra time, people were really spending some money. So I guess that wouldn't hurt somebody like you because people wanted to feel good. They needed something to help them get through this.
And I was still
doing in the game
shows. I'm sorry. Exactly. No. And I feel like that was the case. I was even doing HSN shows. I was doing it from my home, but that was still going on. So I can see people at home. I was talking to them. I was selling blankets and pillows at the time. So I was just like, you know what? These blankets and pillows are like generational gifts. These are gifts that you can send to someone right now who needs a hug because we haven't been able to hug our friends, our sister friends, our tribe and crew in a while. So use these gifts as that, so people are like, I'm digging that. And so that's really what it's all about. Nothing's really changed the game for Pardon My Fro during COVID. I felt like our products always spoke to us and I feel like our products were our sisters when you didn't have anybody on your side. So I feel like for us, COVID really kind of turned that around and kind of understood what sisterhood and what having a tribe in hard times is about.
And while people were at home, again, during COVID, I think Black women especially got the most creative. So it was like, all right, nothing is set in stone. What is it that brings me joy? What do I love to see? So I saw, even myself, a lot of women, Black women tapping into their creativity. Like, now's the time to do it. If you don't do it now, are we stuck in the crib and we don't know what's happening next? So people like you that's been in the game, somebody to look to, because you've been doing this, what are we now, 12? Yeah, how many years we in?
I keep saying
12
years. I'm
years.
like, no, it's been 12. It always changes each time. Officially, Part of My Fro didn't start till really 2010, 2011, although I was doing design in 2009, but back then I was under a different name called Ala Paperie, and I was doing like invitations and like paper goods. So Part of My Fro really didn't come around until around 2010, 2011. So 10, 12 years just in the design game as a whole.
And you're self-taught.
I am. So motivation really does help me in this situation, because I was in a 9-to-5 job that I absolutely detest. I just, it wasn't for me. Although I put blood, sweat, and tears into that job, I was selling annuities. And so I had to, in retirement, so I had to, pass tests to do that. I had my series 6 and 63. Those were tough tests to, for that job. But even being there 7 years and doing that, I was always doing something on the side. Always. I was always, planning people's weddings. I was always designing someone's baby shower, wedding invitations. And I just knew that it just wasn't for me. And around 2009, when fashion bloggers was kind of getting really hot, I was like obsessed with fashion bloggers, like literally like looking at blogs every day. And one day I said, you know what? Let me see if I can reach out to them and see if I can design maybe like one of the outfits of the days. And one of the bloggers that I definitely feel like she kind of catapulted Part of My Fro is Love Brown Sugar, Christina Brown out of New York. I follow her blog every single day. And I actually reached out to her one day. I said, listen, let me try to just design on note cards, like illustrate you. She was like, do it. So I did it. And she shared with her fans, and that's when everything started. Like, that's when everything just blew up. She was like, they want more. So I just started designing stuff for her brand. And then I was kind of just getting my name out there, and I was like, okay. And then a natural hair movement started. I had just big shopped. So I was like, listen, this is just like a whole new me. I left this 9-to-5. I got Christine over here in my corner. I got these followers who are really kind of feeling my vibe. So I said, listen, so natural hair movement, I'm like, I need to start designing, that looks like me, that represents who I am at that time. And I wasn't really finding a lot of natural hair art back then. Like, when you look at it now, but back then, I feel like I'm the OG, and I'm gonna claim it. I feel like I'm the OG of the natural hair art illustrations. I
feel like you are
out there. Yeah, there was.
I think you can claim it, because I went natural in 05. Like, I went natural towards my senior year in college, and nobody else was natural. My hairdresser was still using Blue Magic on me. We were still figuring it out, the grow out period, but there was nothing outside of products. People were still like encouraging you. I was putting on wigs to go on job interviews. I was hiding my natural, trying to play the part. So it was just from that period to 2011, you're right, people were still dipping their toe in it. But your image is like, I look at your images and I'm like, I need to take this to a hairdresser because I want this style. So like, where does it come from? Because you cover pretty much every aspect of natural hair. There's nothing you don't touch.
Yeah, the fro, my first design, Chanel, like that was just the big fro with the hands across her eyes. Like, that was technically my first design. So when I started getting Chanel out, I was like, I just want to see, because when you do something for yourself, you need that validation that you're going down the right track. And every single time I was just busting out designs, people were like getting it. And and I was trying to align myself with anything natural. So natural curly Nikki, I feel like she was one of the first natural hair bloggers that was out there, and I was always on her page. And so inspiration from her. Yeah, I feel like she was. I feel like she was really the first. And so Naturally 85, I believe, that was another one I was following. And I literally was just following them just for inspiration. Hair, colors. I'm all about patterns. I love color, lime green is my favorite color. So I was making sure that I was taking all those elements that I was seeing every day with the natural hair girls out there that was killing it. Started seeing YouTube videos. I literally was like obsessed with looking at someone natural. And that's where the designs came from. And as I started doing that, I was like, okay, well, we're not going to just stop at art prints. We're going to throw these designs on shower curtains. So I started like literally just looking for manufacturers, US based preferably, and back then that was a thing that you can get manufactured stuff in the US. So I was lucky that I came upon a print on demand company, and they were like, we could put your designs on anything. So mugs, shower curtains, and yeah. So I just did the full gamut. Let me be a full lifestyle brand and not just pigeonholed into this, oh, I'm just an artist, because I was self-taught. So I never called myself an artist, because I didn't want to take away from the real artists who can do a pencil to paper sketch when I can't do that. I'm great with digitally designing. That's just my thing. Give me Illustrator, give me Procreate, I could do my design. So I always felt like I was just a lifestyle brand, and that's how I wanted to brand myself.
And there's something, I think you just brought up something really important here. The fact that you were first self-taught and you decided to shoot your shot. So it's power in believing in yourself and just taking a step. Because a lot of times now, because in the age of social media and clout chasing and all of that, folks are looking for somebody to just put them on instead of just doing the right things until somebody catches on. Somebody had a shirt one day, they showed it to me that said, keep doing dope things to somebody till somebody sees it.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
This is 2010 we're talking about. So what was that journey like for you, really just doing your own thing and believing in yourself enough to say, I'm gonna pitch this?
Yeah, I had to believe in myself because, we didn't have the benefit of social media back then. It was there, but not like it is now. So I'm pretty sure that if I had an Instagram back then, it probably been easier to reach people. I was using Tumblr, so now I'm dating myself. So I was using Tumblr just to kind of get my designs out there. But literally, I couldn't even clout chase. Again, I feel like I was the OG. So I couldn't even clout chase because nobody was doing it. No one was doing, like, if there was Afro art, it was a different type of art. It wasn't Afro inspired or natural hair inspired, but there was definitely Afro art, just African American art out there. It just wasn't a lot of Afro art. So I couldn't clout chase if I wanted to. That's where I talk about the motivation. I had to get out of that job. I had to have a reason to tell my husband, because I was like, I'm a dreamer. He was a 9-to-5 all his life. So he was like, I don't get it. I was like, trust me, just go with me along for the journey. And trust me, you're going to see what I'm talking about, because that validation from support from family, you definitely need, because there were times when I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to go back to corporate. And I was like, I cannot go back to corporate. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I was born to do.
That is so dope. And knowing early on what your path is. And I was going to ask that kind of what was the response from your family? Because, as a creative, sometimes people don't always see the vision. So they struggle to support it because it's not something they could ever risk. So did you at all get any type of that, not backlash, but kind of like, people kind of projecting their fears onto you? And if so, how did you deal with it?
Not really. Like, I think I was pretty lucky. I mean, my mom and dad, they've been ride or dies for me anyway. Anything I wanted to do, they was always behind me. My husband was a little bit like, he just didn't get it. And I understand it now, because when you work a 9-to-5 and then your wife is working a 9-to-5 and all of a sudden someone comes home and say, I'm a dream and I need to do this. The other one is like, I don't get it. So he got it. I think once I got into Essence, that helped him say, okay, because he honestly didn't know what I was doing in that room until 4:00 in the morning. Like, I would say goodnight to him, night to my daughter, close the door, and I would just be in there all night just doing stuff. So he didn't get it. He just used to see that door closing a lot. And then when I got into Essence, I can see him saying, okay, something's happening. Oh, okay. So that was validation. And you know what? Honestly, if we being real tonight and honest, I was fine with that, because I'd rather get that than, it's 5 years later and you still, just trying to chase this train that's not ever coming. So I think Essence came, he started saying, okay, because that support from your family is definitely needed. Because if you're down on yourself, you need somebody to tell you, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. So
you gotta have how long and so I'm trying to remember, how long after you launched did you get the Essence feature?
So I think if I want to say part of my fro, I know I started digging for the name, something like funky, like 2010. I was like, okay, everyone's liking my art. I was still under Ala Paperie, but I felt like Ala Paperie wasn't, it just wasn't jiving with the way that I was going. I was being a little bit more funky. I feel like my brand is like street chic. So I was like, yes, Ala Paperie is not going to work. So I was like, let me think of a name where when someone hears it, they're like, what do you mean? Like, what is this? You know, I wanted something that was like in your face. You had to not, right, you had to stop and think and say, I want to know about it. And I was just talking with my daughter, and, you know, she was younger, but I was just like throwing names out. And then I was like, pardon my fro, because part of my fro is really like, my hair is big, my hair can be long, can be short, but you're going to basically take notice of this. You know, you're not just going to walk by, you're going to notice. And that's what I felt like part of my fro was. So when I started that and got that name, I was like, okay, let's roll with that. And that was 2010, 2011. I believe I got Essence like 2015. So not bad. I think it was like 4 years. I feel like I was just like hustling every day, trying to get the name out, And Essence contacted me. They were like, listen, we see your art. I want you to do a horoscope for us. I was like, absolutely. And back then, I can't even tell you if there was like, I don't even think there was like a big check, and no shade to them. What I mean by that is it wasn't even about that, because Essence is something with a Black household. Everybody knows about Essence. So to be an Essence, that was the check for me. That was my validation. That's what I did.
And it's the fact that they found you. They sought you out. Yeah. So that goes back to keep doing what you know you called to do. Keep being innovative. Stay the course. If it's 4 or 5 years, and the right people will find you. I feel like that's just an important message to keep, because people get frustrated that they're not seeing these microwave results, because it looks like everybody they see popping off with their brands, it happened overnight. That's not the case.
No, I can never say that I was overnight success. I don't know if a lot of people can say that back then. I think now with social media, it's absolutely possible that you can be an overnight success. But, you know, before social media and really and Instagram and Facebook being really big like that, and people using it for branding purposes. I mean, I think at that point, people just kind of using it to be, you know, close to their friends. But, you know, people really use Instagram now for branding purposes. And so even if someone is in your ear and they're not understanding your journey, you gotta just let them go. You gotta continue. You can't give up.
Let them go.
If it was for you, you have to keep on going.
That's important, because
anybody who's been waiting to get the, hey, I'm here, pick me. I have to be the testimony for that, because I'm telling you, there were times when I was like, wanted to give up, just wasn't getting it. I would get, you know, gigs every now and then. Nothing was consistent. And then I had my online store, and I was like, okay, well, let me just get online. And that was fine too, but that wasn't really enough to pay the bills. And I was like, I need, you know, part of my fro needs to be something. If this name is big, this brand needs to match that energy. So.
Right. And you kept trucking it. And you have a daughter. So what has the reaction been like for her to see her mother create something that really is timeless, because it can just carry over generations to generations, these images of beautiful Black women, and a brand that lifts us up and it celebrates us, allows us to be okay in all forms of our natural. How does she feel about it?
Yeah, she's 19 now, so I feel like she grew up with the brand, because I remember I had her on my lap and I was doing all my little, you know, hustling, and she was there with me. And every time I had a pop-up, she was there with me. I needed her to understand that it can be done. You know, she was younger then, so she wasn't really understanding the mindset. Now she knows. So she'll send me like some DMs, and she's like, okay, Ma, I see you, ET online. Okay, I see. So she gets it. Yeah, so I was like, well, I don't want her to get the entrepreneur bug unless she gets it. I don't think this is her and that's okay. This is not her thing. That's okay. But she's starting to understand now that, okay, I see you. You're doing your thing. Now that she's 19, she gets it. Like, I get it now. So all those nights, you know, when I would just see that door closed, this is why. And I'm like, this is why. So I make sure that my experience translates over to what she's trying to do when she's in college now. And she's also a track student. So I'm trying to make sure that she understands that you want to go out with your friends one night, you know, and go out and hang out and have dinner. But if you got to track me, you know that those are sacrifices that you can't do it. So you're going to have to wait to after the summer for you to like have your fun, because if you want to do well in track or do well in school, there's going to be sacrifices. And so I just kind of use my brand story to translate that over to what she needs to do, to say, if you work hard, this is what you get. And I'm not even where I want to be right now. I'm climbing, but I'm climbing, and that's the point. If I'm still climbing, I'm not backtracking, that's what I want.
And the funny thing is, you say you're not where you want to be yet. So if anybody asked you, where do you see Pardon My Fro in the next 5 years? What is your vision?
My goal is to be in like 1 million households, whether it's a mug, an art print, your baby's swimsuits, your swimsuit kimono. I want Pardon My Fro to like hit 1 million households. And for us to do that, we have to be in retail stores. So we're trying to get into Targets and get into the Macy's and things like that. Urban Outfitters. I feel like my designs can reach all those different aspects. So for us to do that, we got to be in big box stores. We have to be.
In my head, look, here I go. In my head, I see it on the runway. Like I see some of your designs and I'm like, these are runway looks. Like these are supermodel looks. So I'm like, I know at some point one day we're gonna see it's gonna be a Pardon My Fro creation on the runway, because they're just that bomb.
I'm not hating that. Thank you. Excuse me. That's possible as well. So that's what I mean by, I feel like it's just limitless. It's limitless to what I can do. I want to see Pardon My Fro like on college campuses. I want to see it in the stores. I want to see it in the college bookstores. I want the natural hair movement to continue, to all those college kids who are like covering up their naturals with wigs because they don't want to. No, this is the time that you're trying to be yourself, want to be yourself. I feel like the only way someone is comfortable with that is when they see it. And that's what I mean by that's how I design. I want someone to look at some of my designs and say, I'm not squad right now, but I want to be part of squad, or I want to be part of Royal, because Royal is like the classy golden girls, and that's what I want to be. That's what I'm striving to be. And they're all glorious and classy and golden, but they all have their natural hair. They have their locks out. So the skin tones, the body shapes, all of that is inclusive with Pardon My Fro. And I want people to understand that this art is just not an art to hang on your wall. This is about inspiration.
Right, because right now, I think the movement has slightly been interrupted by the baby hair movement. We got these frontals right now with these thick ocean swoops. And now we braided our wig, we braided the naturals back down, and we out here cutting these baby hairs to touch our eyebrows. So I ain't knocking it. Yes, I am. I'm not knocking it, but I think we got to be careful with that, because the younger girls are now kind of coming into that with this whole, again, I'm sorry, the baby hairs get on my nerves. I'm over it. Can you scroll past this, please?
I understand. Yeah, my daughter loves my baby hairs. I even having a daughter who is natural finally, like I was even struggling with her over the years. Don't perm your hair, because she's in middle school. Nobody's having natural hair. I get it. Everybody wants to straight hair. But I'm like, now she's embracing her natural hair. She doesn't wear it out a lot, but when she does, I'm like, if you just embrace your natural, you don't have to do all of this. And I understand if you go into homecoming or something like that, I get it. But it's even hard to try to just get within your own family to understand that, natural hair is beautiful, whether it's short, it's kinky. I mean, honestly, I only hardly wear my natural hair out, but I am natural and I do sometimes wear it out. But for me, it's like maintenance. I have so much going on. I'm just kind of like, and then I just did a big chop again. So I'm waiting for it to grow out. And then probably by the summer, I'm going to just be rocking my little TWA, and I'm fine with that. I
love the TW. I feel like everybody should do the big chop at least once, because when I did it, nobody told me it's a game changer.
It is a game changer. I've done the big chop probably like 6 or 7 times over the years. And every single time, I've just loved it. I just was like, felt like I was free. And I was like, yeah, so January 1st, shaved off all my hair. Like, yep, just shaved it all off. So
6 times?
Yeah.
I thought I was doing some of my little one. I'm ready now. I'm like, I did the big chop with the blonde, and it was a game changer. I'm like, y'all didn't tell me.
That's the first time I chopped my hair. I did blonde, and I was like, but that blonde kind of did some to my roots, so I had to let that go and kind of get it back, and I had to shave it off again. But yeah, so it's all about what's comfortable with you,
That's true. But as long as we have, like, again, as long as we have these images highlighting our beauty, and we got, I feel like you can look at these images and get hair inspo and take it to the salon. Like, can you do this?
Yes.
Can you make me look like the Aries?
Yes.
pick your zodiac, you know what
Yes.
I'm saying? It's
Yes.
just one of them deals. But I'm just, first of all, just congratulations on all the success so far, and wishing you so much more in the future. And we are just blessed to have you
Thank
in
you.
this space and in this time. Now, first, tell everybody how to find you if they don't know already.
Yes, so Instagram me, so it's at Part of My Fro. Pretty much that's really Facebook too. You could do Part of My Fro as well, but we're really high on Instagram right now. I just established a TikTok, so Part of My Fro Art, A-R-T. It's getting there. I got my little 19 followers, so we rocking with it. So I'm trying to learn how to use it more.
I'm not there yet. I'm gonna get there. It's just them little kids be I'm gonna get there. So
Yeah.
you all know where to find her. So definitely gonna be keeping up with that journey. Again, y'all, and come look at my page to see the best podcast logo. Because when I tell y'all she did that, you just literally just gave her an idea and she just took it and ran with it. She's that dope. So I can personally attest to that. But thank you so much for joining us today, Dana.
Thank you.
And looking forward to chatting again. Y'all, once again, we're still in a pandemic, guys. Wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distance. And when you get a free moment, please remember to clean out your dirty bag. Till next time.